Thank you, Manut.
This
Good
is
morning,
Deng John
Emmanuel. Good morning, everybody.
on Manuti's computer.
Thank you very
Deng
much,
John.
St. John. Good morning, everybody. This is Buba from Banjul. I hope
Yes,
all
good
of you are
morning,
good.
Buba.
In South Sudan, I'm okay here. It's still in the morning. It's good to join all of you today again.
Point of correction, the gentleman who is speaking, I don't know whether he is in South Sudan. It's not morning now, it is afternoon. I don't know whether in morning hours, but in South
Yes,
Sudan it's
Yes,
already
I know,
afternoon.
I know it's in
he's
the
from
afternoon in
Gambia,
South
I
Sudan,
think.
but in
He's joining
Banjul,
from Gambia.
it's in the morning. It's 11 a.m. in the Gambia.
Okay. So he thought you were joining from South Sudan.
Okay, it means morning
Okay,
in Gambia and then afternoon in South Sudan. Thank you.
Yeah, sure.
Exactly. Thank you, too.
Okay, then. Okay. Yeah. Thank you all once again. You're welcome. So what we'll do is we'll start with a review of yesterday's session. We'll launch polls that you will see. We'll have 2 polls for reviewing yesterday's work. So once you see the poll on your screen, please you can give your responses. And if you're using a very old version of Zoom, you will not be able to see the polls. So I'll be launching the polls. Please do give your responses in 3 minutes. Are you all seeing the polls? Please give your responses. We have reached 63%. Please do finish it up. We're left with 2 minutes to end the poll. If you haven't finished, kindly do so. One minute left for us to end the poll. I see 75% have contributed. 79% have contributed. 1 minute left. Yeah, our time is up. So I'm ending the poll. And let me share the results. Are you seeing the results? Number one says, what do you need to be able to connect to the internet? Yeah, definitely you need Wi-Fi, you need mobile data, you need a phone or computer. So the answer is all of the above. And which of this is a popular email service? It's Gmail. At least most of us have an email that ends in @gmail.com. So it is the most popular email service. And then we have, what is a website? A website, the correct answer is a collection of web pages identified by a domain name. Yeah. And then what is the abbreviation app short for? It is a short form for application. At least all of us have got that. And then which social media platform is best for sharing daily stories? That is Instagram, number one. Yeah, I think majority of you say Twitter, but the answer is Instagram. And number 6, what should you do to prevent cyber criminals from stealing your information? Yeah, you should have a strong password. If you don't have a strong password, then you need to create a strong password. And then also do not click on suspicious links, and meaning that the answer is all of the above, like majority of you have voted. So which of these is an example of a strong password? Yeah, from the best password practices, number 3 is the strongest password. And then number 8, which of these is a good password practice? You need to change your password regularly. And lastly, not lastly, number 9, why should you be careful of public Wi-Fi? Your information can be easily stolen. And lastly, what is an example of smishing? So we say that smishing is an unexpected SMS that is forcing you to click on a link. So majority of you have given the correct answer. Thank you all for that. So we have the last one. Again, you have 5 minutes to complete this. So 5 minutes, please complete this one, and then we continue with today's session. So basically, you are being asked what is phishing, importance of why you need critical thinking skills, and then fake news, and then search engines, and then, yeah. So you have 5 minutes to complete that, and then we proceed to today's session. I hope you're all seeing the polls.
No.
Who's that saying no?
I'm not seeing it also.
I'm not seeing.
If you are not seeing it, could be because of the version of Zoom you're using. Two minutes left, and only 6% have voted. Is it hard or something? %. 2 minutes left. Do you need more time? Our time is up already. Yeah, let's just reach 50% and we'll close the poll. Okay, great. We have reached Nancy, probably you're not seeing the poll because of the version of Zoom you're using. If you're using an old version of Zoom, you will not be able to see the poll. You should update your app. So let me share the results. Yeah, so I see what is phishing? Most of you say that phishing is an SMS from a person asking to click on a link. And phishing, most of you say phishing is a phone call from a person asking for your personal details. And number 3, why do you need strong critical thinking skills? Majority of you say so that you can identify what information is useful and what is not. Number 4, which of these is not an example of critical thinking? Majority of you say that finding someone to blame your bad decisions on. Yeah, good. And then who can be a critical thinker? Majority of you say anyone willing to learn how to ask the right questions and find solutions. And which of these is not an example of and majority of you say who has shared on Twitter is not an example of how you can think critically about a blog post. Yeah, that is true. And which of these is a sign that the story is a fake news when it does not include any evidence? And lastly, which of these is not true about search engines? They change the time settings on your phone. That is true. And what do you need in order to perform a Google search? You need a web browser. That is true. And which of this is not an example of a type of content you can select on Google? Gossip. Yeah, that is true. So thank you all for your active participation. It is clear that majority of you can recall yesterday's sessions. Now over to you, Ulak, to continue with today's session.
Thank you. Good morning and good afternoon to all of you, depending from where you are joining us. Today we come to our last day, and we can go straight to the presentation. Okay, so today we are in the second day, which is the last day, and we are going to start with our first topic, which is accessing services, work, learning, and opportunities online. So for you to access any of those things we have mentioned, at least you need to have an IT device, which can be a phone, a computer, or a tablet. And secondly, you also need to have internet connection, which can be mobile data or Wi-Fi, or you can also use a modem. And the third requirement is the digital toolkit. Of course, there may be some applications that you do not know how to use them, and you may need guide on how to use them. So digital toolkit will be your guide, which basically covers tutorials and some other resources that can help you on how to use a particular software that is new for you. With that covered, so what are the things, if you want to learn something online, what are the things that must be met? Of course, with those three requirements earlier, online classes or learning is not the same like when you're in offline classrooms. Regardless of what course you are taking, there is great difference between online and offline classes. So in online, the first thing is interaction. Most online learning options are asynchronous. Asynchronous means students can log in anytime and can read materials and complete their assessments. And there is other alternative, which is synchronous, whereby you are required to log in at a specific time though that is not common. Like what we are doing now is synchronous session. Okay, so what are the questions that you can consider during interaction? Is the online course asynchronous or synchronous? And is it suitable for you as a learner, or you prefer face-to-face, which is basically offline? So those are some questions that you can ask yourself before enrolling for online course. Secondly, is time. Of course, every class has the beginning time and also the ending in which the session comes to an end. In the online, if it is a synchronous session, you can log in anytime you want and access the contents. But mostly you will be doing majority of the work by yourself, because your instructor will come and put everything in place and goes off so that you can access it anytime you want, which is the opposite of synchronous, whereby you have live interactions and also you can ask questions, and that has a time interval within which it is supposed to be covered. Then we have the writing demands. Of course, writing online is much, especially if you take the first tutor will not be there when you need them, but you can still reach them if you have questions and they'll be able to respond to you. And the fourth important point is self-advocacy. Of course, in the online, no one can know if you have understood or not. It is you who will have to ask questions where necessary, so that your instructor may be able to give you extra time in case you didn't get the explanations. But if you are quiet, no one will know the struggle you are going through. And finally is the technology. Of course, for you to access online learning, you have to use some of the tools that we saw yesterday, like this one even, Zoom, Google Meet, and others. So those are some of the things you may need for online learning. So what about working and also creating opportunities online? How do you work and also how do you create opportunities online so that you get benefit from it? Yesterday we covered this session for creating opportunities online, and that's why I decided to say that this should be a discussion session for us to try to recall what we learned yesterday. So we have two questions here. The first is that what are the opportunities one can make by being a digital citizen? What are the opportunities one can make by being a digital citizen? And the second question is, in what ways can people in different locations work collaboratively on one project? The second is like if you are two and you're working on the same project, one person is like our colleague in Gambia and the other one is here in South Sudan. So, and you two are working on the same project, in which ways are you going to make that possible? So that we shall go into break rooms and discuss among ourselves because of time, and also to avoid the repetition of what we learned yesterday. So, Mr. Bida,
Okay. Thank you so much.
we
Ulak.
now
So you're
or
going.
it at the end later or now?
We can do it now, and then we get back. They give the input, and then you proceed.
Is okay.
Yeah. So we are going to 4 breakout rooms. You're going to choose your own room. The rooms will appear on your screen, and then you choose which room you want to go to. Please, when you go to each room will have, all of you will be given 5 minutes. So when you go to the room, please choose your group leader in 1 minute, and then you use the 4 minutes to discuss, and then you get back to us with the presentation.
Bida.
Yes, please. Yes, please.
Yeah, this is Magendo. How will I choose the
Yes,
group?
please. It will appear on
I
your
want
screen.
to have,
Yeah, has it not
I'm
appeared?
still
Okay, I
seeing
have
on the
assigned.
screen.
Okay, I've assigned you to group 3.
Okay,
Yeah.
group 3. Okay. Let me.
Hello?
Yes, please.
Yeah, this is Kenyi Nason Felix. I have also not seen the screen, the group numbers in the screen.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, so you're welcome back from the rooms. I trust you had very good deliberations. So the group leaders, you can put your hand up, you can raise your hand, and then we'll be able to point out each group leader. So kindly raise your hand using, yeah. So Jackson, you are for which group?
Thank you. I'm representing group 2.
Okay, you are welcome.
Thank you very much for the opportunity. So I, with my group, we managed to discuss the 2 questions. The first question is, what are the opportunity one can have when being a digital citizen? So the opportunities that one can have is, for example, one, you can have online business. So through being a digital citizen, you can be able to do your online business. You can conduct your business online, for example, attracting customers from different countries and from different locations. And number 2, the opportunity that you can also have is, for example, you can be able to search and get a scholarship online. So it is also a good opportunity that you want to.
Am I the only one that's getting the sword? The audience.
And another point is also someone can get a job opportunity online. So when you are a digital citizen, you can also be able to get a job opportunity when you are hunting for job online. You can be able to secure for you one. Lastly is education. You can also get opportunity to education through online also. So number 2 question was, if someone is in different location and you're in a different location, how collaboratively can you work together? So we managed to come up with a topic of with the point of you can also be able to coordinate through Zoom, share, like for example, we are here today, we are in different location, but through Zoom app now we are all in one place and we are learning one topic today. Also, you can also use email. You can be able to write email to someone who is far from you. You cannot be able to coordinate to the benefit of one project through email writing. So another one is also Google document. Google document will allow you also to share your findings also with a colleague who is far from you. So there is also another app also you can be able to work together is gather.town. So all of us know gather.town, unless some of us who are not familiar with gather.town, you can be able to work with a colleague. You can also learn. That is also good for students and teachers to teach or to learn also, or for workers also to work on the same platform. Also, we have WhatsApp. For example, you can post the documents that has to be signed from a person who is not near you. So you can share through WhatsApp and the person can be able to sign the document and scan and send back to you. And in that way, you work easily. Also, we have Google Drive. Also, you can also use Google Drive and coordinate with the person who is not near you. Lastly, we have GitHub that you can write your proposal and also post it there, and the other colleague of yours who is in the other location will also be able to get it, and in this way you can be able to work together. Thank you very much. This is the point that Group 2 managed to come up with. Unless if there is comment or any support from our group members, you are welcome.
Okay, thank you so much, Jackson. That was nice deliberation. Please, you share like what is the website for gather.com. You can type in the chat box and put the. Yes, please put up your hands, the group leaders, so that we can go to the next group. I'm not seeing another hand up. Raise your hand using the chat, using the feature for raising the hand. We're remaining with group 1 and group 3 and group 4.
I can see Kenny raising his hand. Kenye Nason, Felix.
No, he did not. He has not.
Okay, I saw him making manually. I thought he was raising.
I'm waiting for our group representative. Group representative will give us some highlights on what he has put up. Thank you.
Okay, yeah. I'm not seeing any hand up from another group. You guys, what are you doing in the breakout rooms?
Our group leader is Sabit. Is Sabit there? Sabit, can
I
you
am
please come up?
finding issues with the internet. That's why I had to go off to first subscribe again.
Okay,
Sorry.
comma Nancy, you are for which group?
Hi everyone. I hope you can hear me well.
From group 1. Yeah, we can hear you.
I'm for group 3. Yes. So the opportunities we were able to make of during our discussion, we have forex trading. One of our members was able to use the digital space for forex trading, and then we also realized you could be an animator to create animations, and then videographers, then virtual assistants, and very many other opportunities. And then what ways can people make in different locations to work on the same project? The first one is through Google Docs, and then we had Trello for project teams. And then we have Slack for bigger teams, especially those in the learning environments. We have TeamViewer to help people work, to help IT people to troubleshoot programs remotely, and very many others that I don't remember. Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much, group 1. I'm not seeing any other hand up. Ulak, over to you to proceed with the rest of the presentations.
Okay, thank you to all those who have participated. It was interesting getting those answers. Yeah, and the last, that is Nancy, she talked of TeamViewer, which is actually one of interesting applications that you can use to let your colleague from a different location have access to your computer. Basically, they'll be able to use your computer remotely with the help of TeamViewer, which is also, I think, something that they shared and is of interest actually. So thanks. And then we can proceed with our presentation. The next is laws that protect us. So for this, different countries have different laws. And for my presentation, I'm focused on the United States. The reason being, most of these giant tech companies are located there, and we are using their services directly. So we need to know how the government of that country protect their citizens. What law have they put in place? Because indirectly, it also reaches us, who are the users of such tech, of applications or softwares from such tech companies. So what are some laws regarding internet and data security? Because there are very many laws in the US which cover internet, data security and privacy. And we need to know that the invention of internet has changed the definition of privacy, because there are, for like yesterday I said, being online, you cannot be certain 100% that you are completely safe. So there are some precautions that we have to put in place in order to stay safe online. So what are some laws that are in place? The first is the Electronic Communications Privacy Act, which was passed in 1986, while technology by that time cannot be compared to what it is to date. This law allows the government to have access to information of users. And the information include digital communication such as email, social media messages, information on public cloud databases, and for them to have access to your information, of course, recent information that have not taken long online, they have to write a warrant so that those companies can give your data. But if they require information that has taken more than 180 days, then they do not need what? Warrant in order for the companies to give them. They can just have the access. That can be seen in 2012, where Google reported that the government had requested 18,000 times information of their clients. This is just for security purpose. The second is Computer Fraud and Abuse Act. This makes it a crime if you have access to information that is protected and you decide to share it. And this act was passed in the late 1980s. The third is the Cyber Intelligence Sharing and Protection Act, which was introduced in 2011. And it was passed in the House of Representatives, but not in the Senate in 2013. And later it was reintroduced again in 2015. There is still a lot of debate about this, but it is also one of the laws. And some people are in opposition of this law, particular law, such as the Electronic Frontier Foundation. They are one of the companies that are in opposition of this law. This law is concerned with sharing information. What information? Information that you think this law is based upon. And then the fourth is basically a law that protects children online. It protects them from accessing adult contents, and also the companies that develop websites specifically for children, how they are supposed to keep information of those children safely. Of course, children below the age of 13. Those are some of the few laws that I have selected. There are many more. So if you are someone who follows this, if you are more into security, internet security, you'll get to know that there are always a lot of concerns. Once a law is brought into place, people usually are not in agreement with it. It is because they think they are calling that for internet freedom, whereby their data is not supposed to be kept by a government. But this we need to know It is done for our own safety. With that, different countries, like earlier on I said, have different laws. And for South Sudan, we have the provisional order that was made in 2021, which is cyber crimes and computer misuse. Provisional order. This order signed by our president covers a lot of things. Ranging from stealing someone's data and impersonating to be that person, and also restriction to sharing nudity, like semi-pornographic contents, hacking government infrastructures, and using such information for personal reasons, which are usually negative. All such negative things have their penalties when you pass through this provisional order that was signed in 2021. So those are some laws that can be used for our own safety online. With that, we shall now come to the future of work. What are some trends and tools that you need? What are some trends and tools that you need? We can know that from 2019, there have been a lot of changes in how people work. That is when the pandemic came up. A lot of changes happened. So one of the things you need to consider for future work is that the human experience will, at the end of the day, replace employment experience. So people have to be seen, employees have to be seen as humans in first place. And when they are seen as humans, we need to help them grow in all areas of their lives. That is why people should focus on the mental, physical, emotional, and spiritual, plus financial health. It's okay to be human at work. We have seen when people are working online, you will have seen virtually how they live with their people. So this thing of trying to be perfect, we know is necessary, but human is human at the end of the day. The second is going to be your personal and corporate value alignment. How you are going to align your personal values with the values of company, okay? So that at the end of the day, you have a purpose-driven work, because you'll be working since those values align with yours. We all want to be part of something bigger than ourselves. And we all want to know that we are making difference in our workplaces. And for that, we have to truly live corporate values and not just hang them on the wall. So we need to be authentic with ourselves, not faking things about us at workplace. You have to be realistic. So if you can align your desires with the values of your workplace, it will not be a stress for you to go for work. For I believe most people go for work, but they are not happy with their work because they have no alternative. But if you can change the values of your place of work with your personal values and you align them, then you'll get the motivation to go for work. The third tool is that hybrid work will be the norm. Hybrid basically means the virtual and the physical culture. Virtual culture is whereby you'll be working online, and the physical is where you have to go to the office or to the work premises. So with that, those who are planning to make companies or open businesses, or those who already have existing businesses, you need to build a virtual culture. You need to at least start making a system that with time in the near future will allow your employees to either choose to work from home or to come and work from the office. At the end of the day, the most important thing is that the work gets done. So your focus is where your people feel most productive and connected with their team or the organization overall. So if the person thinks he or she can be productive from home, they can use the virtual platform. Or if they think they can be more productive in the office, yeah, they can also come and work from office. The fourth of the tools that we may need for future is the current employee monitoring should be replaced by performance monitoring and trust. What I mean by employee monitoring is most of these companies, if you go, you first have to make your attendance. You sign in the time you have come, and then at the end of the day, you'll have to check out the time you are going home. That is how they monitoring. That should be replaced by performance monitoring and trust. Because if you cannot trust your employees, then why do you have to employ them in the first place? So during the pandemic, we have all experienced it. Those who used to work from home virtually, it is sad if you get to realize that those big companies were actually passively tracking and monitoring their employees, because they'll create a software that you have to use from home to work. And once you log in, it will be tracking your activities and how active you are, which we don't see is necessary. If someone can perform something, perform a duty, and you can see the result, that speaks volume. That's why we need to monitor performance and not just the hours a person has used for doing something. Someone may take 7 hours, another one may take 3 hours. At the end of the day, if the outcome is what was expected, that should be enough. In addition, flexible working hours should become the norm. So flexible working hours is like, in case you decide to work virtually, and let me take an example like a mother who has children. So if they decide to work virtually from home, they may decide to log in from, let's say, 6 to 7, do some work, and then log out, prepare the children to go to school, and maybe again come back at around 10, logs in up to 3, and logs out, and then prepares maybe food for the children when they are back, and then later logs in at 7 to 9 to complete her task. So that is what we call by flexible working hours. It shouldn't be a must that you have to be working from 8 to 4 or 8 to 5. Those are some of the things that are likely going to happen in the near future. Flexibility in working hours, because with the technology and the virtual culture, someone can work any time of the day or night. So we need to let people bring the best out of themselves according to their work rhythm. The 6th is basically freelancing. Here, even me, I have specialized I did computer science. I do not know everything in computer science. I may have to learn something from someone. Or in case I have limited time, I can get someone to do that work for me while I do something else. So for that, you need to hire the freelancers, those who have the necessary skills to get the work done. Let them do it for you while you focus on other things. Because that temporary help will be welcomed and will also improve your work efficiency. And finally, the 7th is neurodiversity and mental health support. I'll first emphasize on mental support because we are all humans, right? We have our own struggles. And instead of us judging people we need to support them. Because you may not know what someone is going through. That's why we need to have some empathy or the heart of helping each other. Today you help, next time they will help you. And that is how we can make our workplace to be a good workplace. And these are some things I believe will happen in some time from now. And others are already happening. This thing of working virtually is very common in India, as we talk of now. People work from home. And you can work any time of the day or night until you complete the task you are given, which is like the flexible working hours I covered earlier. So for this, we need to create neurodiversity policy. If that organization doesn't have, and we also need to set up in place internal support groups. A group basically for the employees of the company, whereby they can gather and share their grievances so that they can find a way forward among themselves. So those are some of the 7 trends and tools I believe will be necessary for future. And I will stop here temporarily so that in case someone has a question or someone has something to add on, you can say that, you can say so.
Well, excellent. Thank you so much for that in-depth presentation. So in case you would like to make comments, you can put your hand up and I should be able to point you out and then you say your mind. Yes, Ojara Charles, you're welcome.
Thank you very much for the presentation. Actually, this is real mentorship we have been looking for. Come to the principle number 6 and 7, of which of freelance or temporary position, whereby maybe institution will recruit you to perform. Take in other institution, this will I will be more specifically in the NGOs, whether it is national or international. Every time when they recruit, they say we are bringing in experts in this area. For instance, they recruited maybe a IT personnel. There come, he or she failed to do one of the job. And then he's saying, no, I cannot do this. Maybe we need to bring in another expert to come and fulfill. Most of the institution will end up expelling you that you are not competent for the position. How can you advise the job seekers or the institution, such as, for instance, this that is Excellence Foundation for South Sudan, who are also offering such kind of training. For instance, if they get a staff of this nature, what advice are they going to give the person? Thank you.
Okay.
Okay, yeah, nice question there. Another person, please, you can put your hand up. We will only take people who raise their hands. Yeah, but of course, very important point there, like with the point of like being able to work flexible hours. This is very, even me, I I find it really important, like that people should work, because there are people who may go to work really like they may go at 7 and they come back at 5. But when you ask them for what they delivered at work, like they cannot present something that is really tangible. So I feel that it's really important that yes, Daro Patrick, you're welcome.
Thank you very much. The first place, I would like to thank the presenter for the nice presentation. He has elaborated very many good points. Yeah, flexible working hour is good. It depends on the nature of the work that the entity is doing. Like for example, during the COVID-19 period, most people were working from home, but some employees tend to abuse the privilege. You realize somebody is online, but when somebody is told to participate, the person is not even near the computer. You see? The person is online and they say, hey, so please, can you give us a point? You realize the person is not even on the computer. So flexible working hour is really good, but it requires a lot. One, from the employee himself, and then number two, also the employer should also try their best to ensure that monitoring mechanism is put in place. And then number two, the issue of trust. In my work of experience, you realize that when somebody has stayed in the organization for long, it said sometimes the person becomes indisciplined. I don't know if others have ever experienced such. So the issue of trust, yeah, it depends on individual basis, but a lot has to be done. Thank you very much. Otherwise, the presenter is very nice, and I'm really enjoying it, and I'm learning a lot. Thank you.
Okay, yeah, another person who would like to put in input. Yeah, that is really true. Like, depends really on the policies of the organization, and then like also the discipline of the employees and stuff like that. But it is true, like most people, when they stay in an entity for several years, they tend to become indisciplined, and they think sometimes the institution cannot do without them. Yeah. So yeah, that is true. Any other person who would like to put in input? No ladies talking. I see Yasmin, Anna, Susan. Okay, maybe you can answer the questions.
Okay.
No, we have a hand from Buba. Yes, Buba, please.
Yes, thank you very much for the presentation. I think this is very, very important. I just want to share my own experience from the Gambia with regards to working from home during the COVID, and then how employers can actually monitor the performance of employees. I think that's one thing that the presenter have said, which is very, very important for me. It does not matter how much time an employee works, but then what is important is the output that the employee is able to put at the end of the day. Because we know very well, sometimes you will see a lot of people will go to work from 7 to 5 or from 8 to 4 from as in Banjul. By the end of the day, all what they will be doing in the offices will be actually being on social media or try to find a chat group around in the office and sit together and chat. But if people are given that flexibility, they are able to do some of their personal work and then come and then sit, try to make sure that they work. I think that's very, very important. Thank you.
Thank you, Buba. And also, Ulak did mention that we should really be able to get used to online tools. Like I see people earlier mentioning stuff like the Google productivity tools, people mentioning you being able to schedule online meetings and really explore some of the digital platforms that you can leverage in as somebody who is a worker or somebody who is a manager in this 21st century. It's really important. I see a hand from Nancy. Yes, Nancy, you're welcome.
Thank you. My question is, at the moment, most, especially these big companies, they are trying to ensure that the environment is friendly, like they're very climate cautious and all this. So my question is, where does that fit in? For example, like Google has a goal that maybe by 2030, there are no carbon emissions in any of their data centers and all this. So how does the environment fit into these 7 trends that he mentioned?
Okay, that is noted.
Vida? That how does the what?
That issues of carbon emissions, how can people adopt to see that their work environments are carbon free, something of that kind? Is that what you meant, Nancy?
Meant is, where does it fit in, like in these 7 trends that he mentioned? Isn't it like a trend to look out for, or?
Oh, okay, yeah. So have you got it now?
Yeah.
Okay, great. So any other person who would like to make a comment or ask a question? Okay, maybe you can answer those questions, Ulak.
Okay. Yeah. The first was like that if you get a freelancer.
Excuse me, maybe we have a hand from Solomon. Solomon, I've been seeing your hand. Solomon, you can speak. Oh, he's had your issues. You can proceed, Ulak.
Okay. The first was that someone talking? Okay. The first was that if you hire a freelance who at the end of the day won't be able to execute the task, what can be done to such a person? Well, you know, when you are offered something to do, before you accept the offer, you also have to be realistic to yourself, okay? It is not good for you to take up, you know, that you won't be able to fulfill. Yeah. When you're freelancing in a particular field, it is good to make sure that whatever work you are given, you'll be able to fulfill, so that this embarrassment of you being fired at the end can be avoided. Is it okay? And then that about trust. Some people tend to become stubborn or indisciplined based on the period in which they have been working there. Like those who have worked for long, they tend to become indisciplined Organizations or companies all have their policies, or in other words, rules and regulations that must be followed. And no one who works in an organization is bigger than that organization. So such people who tend to showcase indiscipline acts, my suggestion is for the administrators or someone who is above that particular person to have a discussion, one-on-one discussion, okay? Because corrections done in private usually have impact. So if you realize that someone is not actually doing what is expected of him or her, you need to call that person and then you talk to him or to her. And then being online and not participating, yeah, those are some drawbacks. You know, everything comes with the pros and cons. Once you have access to the net, there are so many distractions out there that may divert you from your work. But the most important thing is for you to get your work done first before you go to the other things. Make sure if you have gone for work, you have to mean business and do what you are supposed to do. And once you are done with your task, then you may go for leisure. So the last thing was about environmental safety, that where does it fall? In the above, I didn't indicate this, but it is a very important point. We can even see the rise of electric cars coming into place and other developments which are environment friendly. So yeah, this is an important point which I didn't include, but thank you for bringing that up. It is also very important for our future that whatever business we are going to establish or whatever kind of work we have in mind should be environment friendly. I think that is all I have under this trends and tools for future. With that, we shall go to the last part, which is job readiness. Job readiness, how you are supposed to look for work and also get ready to return to work. So we shall cover some strategies and tools that can help you to find a job and also what to plan for once you return to work. So what is the nature of work in this 21st century? Actually, you'll get to realize that people usually work for 40 to 50 years. I mean, you work for 40 to 50 years, and then maybe you go for retirement. And some people tend to change jobs after every 4 to 5 years. Others even less than that. And others tend to change after more than this number of years. And others also tend to change careers You may find me today, I'm an IT expert. Tomorrow I decide to go and do another course, maybe medicine, you know. Those are all normal. This means that everything changes. Whatever work you are doing, even if you have been working for 20 years or for 1 year or for 1 month, all jobs are temporary. Because at some point, sooner or later, you want to go back to the job that you currently have. So what happens if you cannot go back to the job you currently have? Maybe because of old age or because the contract is done. So you need to, the next thing is you start applying again. So my word is that you need to plan ahead. You need to manage your career like it is a business. Whatever work you are doing currently, you need to manage like it is a business. So with that, there are 3 components of job searching that everyone deals with. The first is you sell, okay, there is typing error there, but it is sell yourself to employers. Yeah, that is the first, you sell yourself to the employers. And how do you do that? You sell yourself by proving that you have the necessary skills to perform the job successfully. And also, you need to provide a track record of success that shows how you are going to help the company make money and solve problems, because that is why you'll be hired, to help that organization or company make money and solve problems, and in return from the money that you are making for them, you get paid. So selling yourself to employers is the first component of job searching. The second is you have to use your time wisely. Using your time wisely means that you don't have to spend the whole day and night searching for job. You have to set, like you need to create a routine. Okay, a routine or a time session in which you may use to look for job, and the remaining hours of the day you use for other things. Because not everyone who searches for job is actually unemployed. There are people who are working but they are still looking for employed and are looking for any work that they may get. So the time you're going to spend to search for job should not be too much that you don't get time to do your other activities. The third is you need to do your research. And this research, you can do it on yourself. You can do it on the kind of job you are looking for, and also on the company that you want to go and work in. So how can you do research on yourself? You need to ask yourself if you have the required skills and track record of success. Track record of success are basically the relevant career accomplishments that you have made so far that can proves to you that you should be able to get that job for which you are applying. And also on the job that you are going to apply, you need to know exactly how the job, how to do that job and how to do it in the way that the employer wants it done. The third is your research on the company. This is important for the interview part. Later we shall cover. Do you really want to work in that company that you are applying to? If yes, are you going to fit there? Will you and the company be a good fit for each other? Why is it that you need to do this research on the company? Because later during interview, you are likely going to get questions such as, why do you want to work for a company and what do you know about this company? So now, with those three components in place, what are the tools that you can use to sell yourself to employers? Basically, the things that you require for getting a job. The first is the soft skill. Soft skills are opposite of hard skills. But what are they? Soft skills are some of the things that are part of us actually, which are not related to the work that we are going to do. Examples of soft skills could be your ability to communicate, which is communication skills, problem solving skills, leadership skills, creativity, your ability to work in a team, okay, teamwork, how you are able to adapt to your environment. In case you find the place is not how you had expected it to be, the ability for you to adapt. Also time management, okay? How organized are you? Your level of thinking, which is critical thinking, empathy, flexibility, reliability, and so many. These are some examples of soft skills. Those things are not related to the kind of work we are going to do, but they are actually important in our day-to-day life and also important in the place of work. In addition to the ones I've made, also decision making is one of the soft skills. So you need those things to help you do your job and also to keep your job. Soft skills are different than hard skills. Hard skills are now the actual skills that are required for the work. So if I'm an IT expert, my hard skills will be the ability for me to configure computers, the ability to set up a networking within the premises. All those things related to my work falls under the hard skill. So the second tool will be, you need to master how to write applications, these job applications. If you master that, you'll be able to save time, and every application you write should be complete and should be properly or correctly written, minimizing spelling errors and grammatical errors. And also you should, in case you get an interview, you need to prepare yourself to explain any potentially negative information found in your application. Negative doesn't mean criminal act, but like in case you are fired, you should be able to explain why you are fired from your previous job. In case you have taken a long duration of time without getting any work, you should be able to say so why you took that long without getting any work. And also in case you have changed jobs, let's say that you have changed like 3 jobs in 3 months. That can be a red flag to someone who wants to employ you. You should be able to explain why that happened. Those are the things I term them as negative information that will be found. The other tool is your resume. A resume is a sales brochure created to help you sell yourself to employer and gain an interview. Okay, so best resumes are targeted towards specific kinds of job, and they are usually not long in length, and they should be written without any spelling or grammatical errors. Okay, so in addition to resume, okay, one important point for resume is that the information you provide there proves that you actually deserve to get an interview. And once you get an interview, the possibility of being employed is high, because that is now the second last phase before you are now employed, which is the last phase. So yeah, so the resume should be able to have all your skills that you have gathered and the ability to perform tasks that are required for the job in which you are applying. And then we have interviews. At the end of the day, the goal is for you to get an interview. From the time you have applied, you have written that application, is for you to get an interview. If you get an interview, then there is at least a hope that you may end up getting the job. So interviews we have different. The traditional is whereby you will be asked questions that requires an answer that is not just yes or no. Maybe like, tell us about yourself. Why did you apply for this work? Why should we hire you? No? Then the telephone interviews are usually short in nature. They are done to determine if you qualify for face-to-face interview with the employer. Then interviews based on behavior. That is where you'll be asked questions about your background, and then the track record of success that shows you can do the job better than anyone else, and why you deserve to be hired. So you may get questions like, tell me about a time, when you did this and that. What will you do if this and this and that happens? So they are trying to see what are your capabilities for the job that you have applied for. So you need to really prepare when you are going for interview. That this supplements that component, which is do your research earlier on, the 3 components. The research is very important here for interview. And one of the most important things is your computer skills. You can see that most jobs nowadays require at least basic computer skills. And you can learn computer skills from these online websites and also from YouTube. By watching some videos and then you try them practically, you'll be able to acquire some of these computer skills that are needed for most jobs nowadays. So I've mostly talked about your track record of success. It means that you have been working at some point. What if you are just a graduate from university? If you graduate from university, it will be very hard for you to get job. I know that, especially if you have no people ahead there to connect you, and if you are struggling to find a job by yourself. So sometimes it will be good for you to settle for internships, because the internships will also groom you, give you the necessary skills that may help you when at the end you later decide to apply for a job. At least you'll have some practical skills, because most jobs require some years of experience. And as a fresh graduate, you may not have that. So things like internships can help you. And once you have applied for a job, you need to also prepare to, you just need to prepare yourself, because you may work anytime, you may be called for work, and then that will find you ready. How do you prepare for you to return for work? Is you need to develop this habit of waking up early and all that. So those are the different tools and components that are required for job searching. With that, we have come to the end of our presentation. And if there is anything which is not clear, you can ask. And if there is any addition you want to make, you can do that. Thank you, Mr. and all of you for attending. Back to you, Emmanuel.
Wow, amazing. Thank you so much for touching most of the important things that were communicated to be covered during this training. So ladies and gentlemen, if you have any question, please put your hand up, and you can raise your hand. There's a chat feature. If you're using a phone, the chat feature which allows you to put your hand up, and then we should be able to point you out and allow you make any comments or ask any questions you have. We have just kept time as yesterday, and Kenya, I see your hand is up. You're welcome.
Yeah, thank you, moderator. Today's training also, which is like yesterday, Summer Blast. and we learned a lot regarding all this what has been put. Especially, my concern is in areas of job readiness, then the time for working, and then also the skills that is one can also earn and earn a new job. The other major thing that I wanted to emphasize on it is the last point of the fresh graduates should also seek for intensive if need be. In the current policy, we find that it becomes difficult because, like for the case of South Sudan, we find that also the interns opportunities are posted to NGO forum, and it goes with the competition where a fresh graduate sometimes is also put a condition of having experience in something else. And then now, how will this one work for a fresh graduate who has never worked, who has never gone to anything, only just coming from school, and this experience are needed? It is a bit confusing. So for this reason, I think something must be done, especially in the parts of policies, so that the way for looking for intensive will be like previously, where you pick a form from the university, you take to any organization of your choice, and then they observe. When it is accepted, you continue. If it is not accepted, you go to another one. That one could also help, at least for our graduates, the fresh graduates. That is all about my concern. Thank you.
Okay, yeah, thank you so much. I think with the job search, we will have, for the job search, we will have a more intensive session. Our next session on 17th and 18th of September will be job search, human resource and practice, and also how people can address issues of gaps in work experience. So in case you have any issues on that, or you have people who are facing issues with job search, that should be a very good session for them. I see a hand from Abahok Malwal. Yes, please, 1 minute.
Yes, thank you so much. First of all, I have been enjoying, because this is the first time for me to attend this meeting. My concern is really touched by the facilitator. And what I was opinion to emphasize much more is what was covered yesterday about Canva. Because there are other people that are really interested in that, in graphic design and many other things, so that you enlarge your own business somewhere. So this is what I can say. And I think the presentation was really very fantastic. And this should be, such kind of people should be given opportunities in learning institutions like universities, so that they aware more people, more fresh graduates, so that they know what they will be doing later. So this is what I can comment. Thank you so much, KG. And
okay, yeah, thank you so much, Malwal. I think you shouldn't worry about that. We will have a session on some of those tools, the practical sessions, like how you can use Canva for graphics design. But you know that Canva is not for professional designers. Like Canva is designed for organizations like who do not have a lot of graphics work, so that they don't have to hire a graphics designer here and now. But it is just like, it's not for professionals. If you want professional one, you can go for Photoshop and Illustrator. But we can do a session on how we can show you the practical, we can walk you through a practical part on how you can use Canva and some of those Google productivity tools. Yes, we have a hand from Daro Patrick.
Thank you very much. I just have a few things. Number one is, sometimes I think lack of guidance is the one also making some dizzy people not to get something to do. For example, if when somebody is doing something small, but in his CV, somebody writes CEO. So when you present to an employer that you are a CEO, definitely the employer becomes scared. That's number one. Number two, when somebody asks you, what can you do? Instead of being straightforward, the person say, I can do anything. You see? So sometimes people are not straightforward. If I ask the person, maybe it is just because there's lack of guidance or what. What I would recommend is if you can organize a session where people can be trained on how to model or write their CVs, it will really help a lot. Then number 3, especially those who are just coming from school, they should be important to accept the little employment or something that they get as they prepare to get the better one that they are planning for. But you find some people, they say, I've studied this, I must learn on something tangible or on a white collar job, which currently in South Sudan is not possible. Some people even have stayed at home for more than 5 years, and yet they have the skill. So my advice to those one, especially who are still coming from school, if you have not yet got something, if there's something that you get, you work. At the end of the day, it is the money which is very important. Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you very much, Daro. You have a point there. And for your information, we have already organized a session on how to write CVs and how to prepare for interviews. But then we have a session that is coming up on the 17th and 18th of next month. That will be on job search and like sort of human resource in practice and how people can address issues of job experience. And then on the issue of internship, you have a point there. Like even in third world countries, even in Uganda these days, like for you to do internship, you have to pay the institution where you're going to be attached to for you to be able to be granted internship opportunities. And then also like in Juba, for instance, at the moment, students who find it easy to get internship are students who are doing these healthy courses, like these who are doing nutrition, sort of clinical, because of these public hospitals, like they easily get attached. But most of the students who are studying other courses, and somehow students who are doing law, they're also getting internship opportunities because there are a lot of law firms around Juba. But then students who are doing other courses, I really see they are facing a lot of, even some of them graduate without doing internship. This is because of the point you mentioned. Most of them do feel that they should be paid when they are doing internship. They do not want to take the small amount of money that organizations offer to cater for their transport and maybe sort of airtime and feeding. And then also now some of the organizations, now they fear taking students for internship, because when they take, these students will be complaining that, hey, we are doing internship, this organization that I want to cater for my needs and stuff like that. So it's really becoming very difficult, both in the side of the students and also in the side of organizations. But even like students who are doing it, Al-Shabaab, I am told that they are even paying some small money to Al-Shabaab hospital, especially those ones who are doing health. So students should normalize doing internship for free without expecting a lot of money from organizations. This is to help them like sort of build their skills. Ojara, your hand has been up. You're welcome.
Thank you very much. A lot has been elaborated by the previous speakers, but I'm sorry, I will repeat some of them. Coming to the job searching, this is my opinion. I would like you people to include again CV writing and application, and then also you people should also prepare to differentiate for us between resume and CV, cover letter and motivation, so that students or job seekers can get prepared for the competition in the world of employment. Going to the internship placement, actually, institution to institution have different policies. You may find students get into a certain institution where they need internship, and the policy of that institution, they say when they advertise for internship position, it means they are planning to recruit. Now, a student may come in looking for internship placement, and then they tell you, our policy does not allow. So here we also don't need to blame the student. But if it could be the policy of the country, like public service, where they say every graduate have to go for internship, and you can go in any institution where they can offer you the internship. This should be in place. I think that will be beautiful, so that the job seekers and the new generation will be graduated as not job seekers, but they are ready for the job. Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much, Ojara Charles. I think we'll take your points into consideration, especially to include CV and resume writing, application, and motivation later. I see a hand from Nancy Caesar, and then Rejoice later.
Okay, thank you so much for this opportunity. In today's lectures, I have really learned a lot of things, which some of them I knew at first, but I've been able to learn. So thank you so much for the opportunity that you guys have given me. I am really, really so grateful. And to talk about the internship, actually, I'm a victim of that. When I was doing my internship, we were asked to pay. So because we had no choice and we were looking for a space, so we had to pay money, and we were also told to buy some ream papers so that we shall be using the one that we shall be using during our internship. And to talk about employment now, in most of the workplaces, sometimes everyone has a responsibility or a duty to fulfill, and sometimes the employer might give you a task to finish, but resources are not available in time. So how will I finish the thing when the resources are not being available to me? Like, how will I do that? Because sometimes when you are given something to do and then there's nothing, like there's no resources, and they just need you to work on pressure, and some of us cannot really work on pressure. How will I do that? Like, how should I do that? I don't know if you can help me here. Thank you.
Okay, thank you for your question. Like, your question is how you can meet demands of organizations while you are doing your internship, right?
Yes.
Okay, Rejoice, over to you.
Yes. My problem is that like here in South Sudan, you find most advertisement of NGOs, they say minimum 3 years experience. Okay, like for me, let me say example for me, when I came here, I had in South Africa, and then the corona outbreak, they couldn't recruit interns. Okay, like you find yourself getting contracts like 6 months, 1 year in a particular field. Now, when you see the advertisement, they say that 3 months, 3 years, or sometimes even 5 years minimum to be qualified for the job. So it's just like they're making things impossible for us.
Okay, thank you so much, Rejoice. I think you need to join the next session on how you can address issues of gaps in work experience. I think it should be able to answer most of the questions that you have. And I saw, Daro, you were putting your hand earlier up again. Do you want to say something? Okay. Ulak, you may, I don't know whether you picked some of the questions because you dropped, yeah? Okay, some of the questions will be answered in the WhatsApp group. If your question has not been answered, kindly put it in the WhatsApp group. Otherwise, thank you all. Yes, please, you're welcome. Oh, looks like he's facing internet challenges. So please fill out the assessment poll that is appearing on your screen, and also do sign your attendance so that we are able to issue the certificates to all of you at the end of the session. And then we'll share the resources. We'll share the resources in the we'll share the presentations as well as the link to the recording, to the Zoom recording, and also you can go through it at your free time. Otherwise, thank you all for being very active throughout the session. Our next session will be like taking you through some of the practical aspects of some of those tools like Canva and using Google productivity tools. Yeah, that will be the next session I will take you through. That should be in the middle of September, before the session on job search. If you have any other questions, please do put it in the WhatsApp group. And I wish you the very best of your afternoon. Maybe you should take good care of yourselves. Cheers, everyone.